Earlier, Chuck mentioned the thesis that I had to work on. What was most impressive this was back in the early 1980s. So I had to do that on a Brothers typewriter. Had a single line memory. And I was using data from the Pioneer satellites. And I actually had to come up with the units and map that myself because you wanted to have a picture say 1,000 words. So I needed to come up with those diagrams that truly would catch the reader, and hopefully somebody read my thesis at one point. So it was drawing those myself, and then run into a library, remembering that I forgot to get nickels so I could use the copying machine, because I wanted to make copies of my sketches, so then that way it would look professionally done, and then take that copy, put it in the Brothers typewriter, and then type around it so it actually looked like a document. So today's day and age with computers and everything that kids can do truly is amazing. Unfortunately enough, Chuck always gives me a bit of time to speak about the program that I get to work for. I don't consider myself to be the leader of it. I'm just there to support and ensure that our protected security advisors have the resources and tools that they need to best do their job. We have 102 protected security advisors across the U.S. and one in Puerto Rico. So if you do the math, you can see that we have a couple in your larger metropolitan areas. And I like to tell people that they are just there to advise, train, and assist the local community. And that pertains to whatever that local community believes is a threat or hazard that they might face. So I will speak to a little bit about why I really enjoy this engagement, because I do get these books from Chuck, and I ensure that they get out to the regions, because I know if this hazard or threat comes up, that I want my protective security advisors there to be able to speak to that threat, and then be able to best support, whether it's an owner-operator or whether it's the community, come up with options that might reduce the vulnerabilities within that area. Specifically to the missions that the protective security advisors support, one, incident response. It's critical for them to respond to incidents. They typically go to the State Emergency Operations Center, or to, if it's a Stafford Act at that level, then the Joint Field Office. And they are there to help with the prioritization and restoration of critical infrastructure. Another thing that they do is vulnerability assessments. I know that a lot of people don't necessarily want to have assessments done at their facilities, but I still advocate that they reach out to their protective security advisor, because then there's information that we would like to have, and between the department and that owner-operator, that information is protected. That information pertaining to dependencies and interdependencies that facility might have. So when they do have to respond to an incident, that they are better informed of those structures and what those structures require to get back up and running sooner rather than later. If you haven't reached out to your protective security advisor, I strongly recommend that you do. The other mission area that they support is special events. If you think about the Super Bowl, Daytona 500, a lot of these large public gathering events, part of the city, especially now with the Super Bowl where they have the fan experience. It's typically not just a city, but it can include a region, depending on where they have that fan experience. So needless to say, with all that security, with all those people, there's a lot of concerns around the critical infrastructure, lifeline sectors within those areas. So our protected security advisors work with the planning committees, both federal and state, to ensure that protective measures are addressed as we work up special events. And the last two areas that the PSAs work, and this is where I really see strong leverage between our program, InfraGard, and specifically EMP-SIG. One is the assessments, and they do assessments at a facility. So they can go around the facility. We have the tools to help them do that. But Caitlin mentioned the Regional Resiliency Assessment Program. That is a program that our PSAs are involved with, that our office leads, and they look at what I refer to as a larger geographical area. The geographical not being necessarily defined to just land mass. So it could be a system. We've done system analysis within the public works, water, wastewater for state, for example. And why it's important for us to work together on this is because we all have limited resources. So as we initiate these regional resiliency assessment programs, there's opportunities there to scope those projects to include analysis or work that you might need with whatever project you are working on. A good example of that is recently we did the Ashburn Data Center. When we originally scoped that, it was just based on power outage. But working with Chuck and his folks, we brought into that the idea of a EMP. So I think that's a good example, and I think that's the example of how we need to work going forward. In 17, what we're looking to do for the PSA program, right now we're executing what I consider Caitlin's vision. Right now our program, like I said, we have 102 protective security advisors, and they are primarily supported from folks here in the National Capital Region. We are shifting to a regional service delivery model. So we are standing up offices within the 10 federal regions. Within those offices, we will have critical infrastructure specialists, ops analysts, and some other folks. And to me, that's going to increase the bandwidth of the protective security advisor and give them better reach back. Because that reach back now is within their region, and those CI specialists and ops analysts can focus on the concerns and issues of that region and be better prepared to support the PSAs. To me, that's a far better way of executing our program than trying to service all the PSAs from inside the National Capital Region. So I'm embracing Caitlin's vision for that. We're in the process of executing that right now. We have the new regional directors in place. So I imagine in about a little over a year they'll have more capability to better support the InfraGard chapters that are within their region and also the cross-cutting InfraGard areas. And last, we recognize we have all our cybersecurity, our PSA, Protective Security Advisors, trained in cybersecurity, but we know it's a major concern of the states. We do follow the state fairness reports. When they say that they're worried about active shooter, counter ID, cybersecurity, then we ensure that those are 3 areas that we're going to focus on. So we got together with cybersecurity communications and using the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education, a nice framework. We have created a new baseline of training for our PSAs, and then we at various levels that they can work through so that they can augment the cybersecurity advisors that the department has in the regions to do some of their cyber vulnerability assessments. We're very excited about this. We don't see the PSAs becoming cybersecurity advisors, but we see that some of them get to a trained level that they will be a first multiplier for the cybersecurity advisors. Specifically, with Chuck's asked PSA engagement with EMP-SIG, what we are doing. First of all, when you read through, powering through, and when you open it up and you see a letter from my boss, in that letter, recognizing the issue, and then when I page further along and I see language around National Preparedness Framework, PPE 21, National Infrastructure Protection Plan, That doesn't tell me that it's a matter of should the PSAs support EMP SIG and other regards and areas of concern. It's how better can we do that, and that's how our approach each and every year. This past year, we established a memorandum of understanding with the National Members Alliance that really embraces and codifies the collaboration that we're going to have going forward. And right now we're working with the Office of the Private Sector that the Director Brecky represents to link up the 56 field agents that are out there to support in regard from the FBI with our Protective Security Advisor cadre. And I've also, with this regionalizational effort where we're moving to a regional service delivery model, now all those new regional directors report directly to me. So in their 17 performance plan, I put in there for them to strengthen and continue to support their work for the InfraGard chapters. I feel that's important. I feel it's the chapters and ours do great work, but I think we can do better work as we work together. So that is really the update for the PSA program. I do want to say that earlier last year when this came out, it was important to me that we get this out to the region. So fortunately, working with Chuck, we were able to procure. I think in 17, I would like to address the procurement process. The first time ever I had to bring cash in a brown bag to give to Chuck. But he promised me that I got a discount. I think we only paid $500 a copy. But our regions do have this, and I will ensure that the regions get this, and it's an area that we're going to continue to support, and I look forward to the ongoing relationship.